Welcome to Cut the Crop, keeping you in the know about everything you grow. Researchers, growers and other interesting folk delivering insights and information on topics ranging from agronomy to profitability. Brought to you by the Foundation for Arable Research.
Hello and welcome. My name's Alison Stewart and I'm your host of this session of Cut the Crop. And today our guest is Cody Ellingham from Hort Plus. Welcome, Cody.
Thank you.
So FAR's been working with Hort Plus for the last wee while, working to upgrade our web-based weather platform. And as you know, we've always had weather records on our website, but in recent times, with the help of Hort Plus, we've been adding some weather-related on-farm decision-making tools to the site. And we've got Cody in today who's going to tell us a little bit more about FAR's weather and disease platform. So I guess welcome, Cody, and tell us a little bit more about this disease platform that we've now got available for growers.
Yeah, certainly. Thanks for having me, Alison. So Hort Plus have been working with FAR for about 2 years now. And really the opportunity we identified early on was that there's this wealth of knowledge on data available through FAR, but there wasn't really an easy way to get to that. And so what Hort Plus have done is integrate our MetWatch platform, which is the industry standard weather and disease platform. So we've integrated into the FAR website. And so anyone can go, any growers can go to the FAR website and click on the weather platform button in the top right, and they can quickly sign up and get access to really have this weather and disease information at their fingertips. So it's a really powerful resource, and really it's about centralizing that data and those decision support tools for growers and farmers.
So tell us a little bit more then about the decision support tools.
Yeah, so look, decision support is an emerging and a very interesting area in New Zealand. Hort Plus was one of the first companies to really look at this. We're actually looking at our 25th anniversary coming up in 2 weeks. And at the beginning, we were involved with the Apple Futures program, which was really looking at this move from calendar spraying to integrated pest management. And that journey was really enabled by digital tools at the time. And Hort Plus has been along that journey ever since then, bringing in new technology and really taking the guesswork out of decisions that are being made in the field. So really it's about having a data approach. We've got weather stations throughout the country. So for FAR, we have 75 scientific weather stations that growers have access to. And then we can run disease models and different tools and calculators on top of that weather data. So it's really about bringing a data-led approach to decision making. And being able to quantify that and effectively back up decisions with data. So I think that's sort of the core of decision support. But of course, it also needs to involve the growers making decisions, talking to each other, that extension side. So we really see this symbiosis between the research and the extension side and having these data-driven tools.
So can you give us just an example of one of the ones that we've got operating?
Yeah, certainly. So we've got, if you were to go to the FAR weather and disease platform now, you'll see there's actually 2 pest and disease models available. One which is for aphids and modelling their reproduction cycles, and then the other one's for a downy mildew, a cocksfoot downy mildew model. So those are 2 that we've developed in partnership with FAR, and I've been really invaluable in talking to FAR staff members, growers, farmers, people who are actually trying to make decisions out in the field. So for example, the aphid model, that really looks at how the cycles of aphid generations are emerging over the cooler winter periods. And it can really provide some great insight into what the numbers are looking like coming out of winter. So that was something we developed alongside staff from FAR. Joe in particular was very helpful in that. And we've seen a lot of opportunity to bring more of these kind of visualizations and data views to things like pest growth and pest numbers.
So obviously there's lots of data being generated and things like that, but how are the growers actually going to use it to inform their decision making?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, there's a couple of aspects to that. So one of them is looking at spray timings. So this, different industries, different crops have a different perspective on this, but ultimately using the right product at the right time is really the underlying idea here. And so knowing when your numbers are at a critical threshold knowing when you've got, different stages of an insect, for example, when it's susceptible to a certain spray, being able to model that and target your spray to hit that is really valuable, and it really helps with the sustainability angle as well. So you're using the right product at the right time. So kind of from that perspective, it's really important, but also just the economics of, putting on less sprays and the right sprays at the right time can help with some of those management decisions. And that's just for the pest and disease side, but just looking at the weather data in general, having an idea of what's coming down range, what sort of decisions you might need to make, it just provides a little bit more insight for those management decisions. So we think it sort of provides the economic and the sustainability angle at the same time, which we think really go hand in hand. What
other tools are available on the FAR platform?
So there's a real range of general weather tools. So we've got monthly, daily, hourly weather. We've also got a forecast for each of those 75 locations, which is really great to be able to see what's coming up over the next 2 weeks. Looking at other things like soil moisture, and then there's a whole bunch of seasonal tools in terms of growing degree days, temperature and rainfall comparisons, and these other seasonal comparisons, which are quite powerful, especially in the arable sector, where you're often looking at seasonal trends and changes to seasonal seasonal trends over time. So that can be really powerful to have that at your fingertips.
So, do we have a plan of attack then for the development of new tools?
We've been working with, with FAR and talking with growers and farmers about really what the roadmap needs to be. And this is one of the things that's really important to Hort Plus is this engagement with the industry and with stakeholders to find out really what the pain points are and what the challenges are. And so, for example, one big issue that we identified was stem rust as an issue that was causing quite a significant financial cost to the industry. And so starting to take some research that had already been done on that and to build another digital tool that can really help provide some insight into that. So that's something that we're working on at the moment. We hope to have available soon. But then also looking at something like aphids, which are an eternal issue, but being able to bring more insight and more data views to something like aphids, we think that could be really powerful. And so perhaps bringing monitoring data in alongside the reproducing state of aphids and being able to layer that data. That's all in our roadmap. And really what we're focused on is that long-term approach where, we're not in this for 1 or 2 years. We really want to see the industry's trajectory over the next 10 years, the next 20 years, and see our tools really enable some of that positive change.
So you mentioned that, that there was, whatever it was, 75 weather stations. Obviously, some of those weather stations are going to be close to certain growers, but not necessarily that close to others. How accurate and reliable is the data, and does it depend on, how close, the grower's farm is to the weather station?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great question. All of our stations are generally sited in key growing areas. So we've got a network that's really focused on existing growing areas. And so the overall Hort Plus network in New Zealand is over 200 stations, but for arable growers in particular, about 75 of those are relevant. And of course, the further you are away from a station, the less accurate you can expect it to be. But what we do is we really manage and maintain our stations. So they're always calibrated, they're scientific grade stations. They've got all the sensors on them that provide the data that we need. And what we look at is if there is a certain amount of growers who are too far away from the station, we can actually look at putting a new station in or connecting in with existing hardware. So an example of that would be the regional councils, which have a great network of weather stations available in some cases in places like Hawke's Bay. And being able to actually tap into that and build a relationship with the regional council to utilise their data as well. So we really see an opportunity to have that symbiosis with people who already have hardware in the field. And certainly if there's growers who are isolated from coverage, we can talk to them about putting stations in, or that maybe they have hardware already that we can connect. So we're really confident in the data quality coming in off that. And it's great having more stations closer together as well, because you can start comparing and looking for anomalies, because, these are pieces of equipment out in the field. And sometimes, things go wrong, they wash away in a flood or something happens and you need to know about it. So, we do constantly review and manage our weather data coming in off those stations.
Yeah. And obviously with the sort of variable weather that we're experiencing and probably that we're going to continue to experience, it's going to become a really important resource and support tool for growers because, in the good old days, you might have been able to predict that, you're going to have a nice settled period for the next couple of weeks, but we just seem to be getting, weather bombs coming in, sort of rather unexpected with only sort of 2 to 3 days notice. So with some of the other sectors that you've been working with for a longer period of time, what kind of adoption and uptake have you had with these sort of weather platforms and, decision support tools?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, certainly in other sectors, I mean, these tools are, daily drivers for people, whether they're going through the website or whether they're getting the reports emailed to them. That those are mission critical tools for growers. And as you say, with changing weather, the recipe that was working is no longer working in many cases. And so that's a really big thing for us. And so Hort Plus is always looking at how we can provide more insight and more of a lead time into decision making. And so certainly we appreciate with the arable sector that decisions are maybe not, they're not the same kinds of decisions that say apple growers or kiwi fruit growers would be making. A lot of the fruit is, the trees are being touched on a daily basis. Something's being done from a management perspective, whereas for arable growers, often it's more of a weekly or a monthly kind of a cadence. And so we understand that there's a difference in the way different sectors actually engage with these kinds of tools. And so we're really interested in understanding how that works and how we can build tools that really enable better insight that kind of fits within the existing knowledge structure that is within the industry. But certainly at a high level, we think continuing to build and innovate and socialize these tools, get growers using them and have feedback cycles so we can continue to help just in the face of the challenges that growers are seeing.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you very much, Cody. And I guess a plea to our growers. I mean, if you haven't already gone onto the FAR website and had a look at the weather and disease platform, then we'd encourage you to do that. We obviously want to produce support tools for our growers that add value to your decision making on farm. And so the more people that use these tools and the more feedback that we can get on how valuable they are, then it's easier for us to work out, whether we should continue to invest and develop them further. So thank you, Cody, and thank you very much, growers. Have a great day on the farm.
Thanks for tuning in to Cut the Crop, presented to you by FAR. If you'd like to know more about any of the topics discussed or have any suggestions for future topics, go to www.cutthecrop.co.nz.